Hi, everyone. My name is Bria, and I'm hosting the USC Viterbi Scholar Live Chat for Spring 2017. First of all, I want to say congratulations to everyone because if you're watching this, then that means that you have been admitted to USC, and that means that you're also being considered for a merit scholarship. So congrats. The live chat is basically a panel of current engineering students who answer questions that were submitted to us on our website at viterbivoices.usc.edu. This live chat is specifically geared toward students who are already admitted and who are up for consideration for merit scholarships. So the rest of this panel, everyone here is a Viterbi scholar, so they were in your same shoes a couple years ago. They went through the interview, they went to explore USC, and now they're real live USC Viterbi students. So if you're just tuning in, you can still answer questions at the form on our webpage. We already have a lot, but we're going to try to get to all of your questions. I am the host, so I'm going to be going through your guys' questions. I'm going to try to answer all of them, and Nash is our tech guy. So Nash is here to make sure that everything goes smoothly. And yeah, we'll start off by telling you guys a little bit about ourselves. Nash, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much for the introduction, Bria. Like I said, my name is Nash Galbitz. I'll be helping out with the tech for tonight's Google Hangouts and YouTube live session. So if you see me looking at the side of the screen, having a funny face, or something, it's just because I'm working with the sound, the visuals, the image quality, make sure that everything runs smoothly for you guys tonight. A little bit more about myself. Like I said, my name is Nash. I'm a junior from Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I study aerospace engineering here at USC. I'm also the president of an aerospace professional organization. It's called USC AIAA, which is the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics on campus. I've been part of the club tennis team. I've done some research on campus, currently in an investment group with my social fraternity, and I've interned with Boeing, studied abroad, and will be going back up to Seattle, Washington this summer to intern with the Boeing company once again.
Okay, I'll go next. Hi, everybody. My name is Claire Sargent, and I'm a sophomore from Chicago, Illinois, studying industrial and systems engineering with a minor in Chinese for the professions, which is basically just like an integration of Chinese language, but in a business and technology setting. Within Viterbi, I'm part of a couple of cool organizations. I am part of the Viterbi Fellows Program, where I do research. I'm part of Engineers Without Borders, where I'm the marketing chair. And Engineers Without Borders is a super cool club that combines philanthropy and engineering skills across all different types of engineering all across the world. We do all these cool projects like building water systems and buildings and bridges for a bunch of different communities. I'm also part of Society of Women Engineers, where I mentor high school females and their process of getting into college. And Society of Women Engineers is this super awesome club that kind of gets all types of female engineers together for a bunch of different cool events. Outside of Viterbi, I am part of a social sorority, Alpha Delta Pi, where I'm the culture chair, and I'm a competitive equestrian. And this summer, I will be interning for an industrial water systems company back in Chicago, Illinois, doing IT stuff for them within their technology department.
Hey everyone, I'm Maria. I'm a junior studying chemical engineering with an emphasis in material science from Orlando, Florida. I've been doing research here on campus since freshman year on more sustainable manufacturing of carbon fiber composites for aerospace purposes. I'm also co-president of my school's LGBTQ engineering organization, and I mentor middle school girls through a program called WISE. This past summer, I was abroad in Madrid through the Viterbi Overseas program, and this upcoming summer, I'll be interning at Microsoft in their supply chain division.
All right, and hi, my name is Michael. I'm a junior studying aerospace engineering from Seattle, Washington. On campus, I've been involved with the Rocket Propulsion Lab, which is a student undergraduate-led kind of research group where we're building rockets out of carbon fiber and trying to launch them to space. We haven't quite got there yet, but we'll get back to you when we do. Anyways, I've also been involved with Lava Lab. It's a technology entrepreneurship group on campus where they helped me actually start my own company with a graphic designer and a business student as well. Other than that, I also studied abroad in Madrid, Spain over the past summer.
Cool. So I'm Sabina Thanawala. I'm from Fremont, California, which is up in the Bay Area. I'm a sophomore studying computer engineering and computer science, and I'm on a pre-law track, also doing the thematic option, alternate GE program here. And on campus, I'm involved in a couple different things. One of them is an entrepreneurial organization called Spark SC. Essentially, what we do is kind of unite that community of USC students that are interested in innovation. And I'm also a part of a professional engineering fraternity. And I also do research on campus in human robotics interactions. And I also studied abroad in Madrid last summer.
Hi everyone, I'm Shayna. I'm a junior studying electrical engineering, and I'm originally from Cambridge, Massachusetts. At USC, I've joined a social sorority, Gamma Phi Beta. I've served on the executive board of WISE, the female mentorship program Maria was talking about. I've conducted research in a robotics lab on campus, and last summer and returning this summer, I'm interned at the Aerospace Corporation working on the Air Force's weather satellite program. But actually this semester, I'm currently studying abroad in Hong Kong at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. So hi from Hong Kong, everybody. It's morning, so sorry if I mess up my greetings during this thing.
Awesome. Shayna, what time is it in Hong Kong?
It is 11:06 a.m. I've had my first class of the day. I know you guys are all at night, but I'm just starting my Tuesday.
And it's Tuesday?
It is Tuesday, February 7th.
Wow, that is very weird.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
I know. It's really confusing.
I am Bria. Like I said earlier, I'm from Bakersfield, California. I'm currently a junior studying environmental engineering. Some of the things I'm involved in on campus are I'm on the Officer Council for Society of Women Engineers, which Claire was talking about earlier. We have a lot of networking events as well as social events and community service opportunities. I am also in a social sorority on campus. I have had 2 internships, one with LA County Sanitation Districts, which was more environmental engineering, and then one with Matt Construction, which was more civil engineering. Last summer, I also studied abroad in Madrid, Spain with the Viterbi Overseas Program, along with the majority of this panel, it seems. Maria, Michael, Savina, Nash, and I were all on that program together. And this summer, I will be interning at Ramble Environ, which is an environmental engineering consulting company. So we will jump right into the questions. We'll start it off with the question that everybody is asking. Everyone wants to know what can they expect in the interview and how should they prepare?
So I don't know about everyone else, but my interview was very casual. I definitely was not expecting it. I'd been told that it would be kind of like a conversation, but obviously I thought that I'd get in there and they'd interrogate me about when USC was founded. But so I sat in there. Yeah, I sat in there with an admissions counselor, a faculty member, and a current student. And they honestly just asked me why I wanted to come to USC, had me elaborate on some stuff from my application. And it was really just them talking to me and saying what I wanted from the school.
Yeah. And just to kind of go off of what Maria said, I came into, just the entire process of applying to colleges, knowing that I had some interest in computer science, but not having any real experience in it. And I was so afraid that I was going to sit there and be asked a bunch of technical questions and, get, scored for literally the code that I was writing. And, obviously that didn't happen, which was really good, much to my relief. But what did happen was I talked about kind of the things that I was curious about USC. I had specific questions ready kind of for the faculty member regarding research. And I think that was really kind of a good thing, so that if you go in with questions, you kind of get the most out of this conversation that's happening. Because like Maria said, it is very much a conversation. So it's two-sided in that sense.
Yeah, I think, kind of similar to what Maria and Savina are saying. It's really just an opportunity for them to get to know you better. And I know you get asked all those questions on the application that are like your favorite food and your TV shows, and they bring those up in your application, and it's really funny when they read them back to you, because I remember I was trying really hard on some of them. But it's really just an opportunity for you to elaborate on the things you were saying, and I think it's just them trying to get an understanding of what you want to do at USC. You know, why do you want to go there? Why do you want to, you know, study what you're choosing? You know, I interviewed as an environmental engineer because that was kind of my major, that was my major when I applied to USC and was my major for an entire year. And it was just, you know, they, like Savina said, like they aren't asking you all these tough environmental engineering questions, and they weren't expecting me to have the answer to save like the energy crisis, but they were, you know, asking me just why I wanted to be an environmental engineer, you know, what I wanted to do. And it's really, really casual. I talked about waffles in my interview, I remember, and it's really fun. I had a lot of fun. It was my first interview for anything ever, so I loved it. I don't know.
Maybe a final note too. Maria mentioned that the interviews are casual. As far as your dress code, showing up in shorts and flip-flops and a t-shirt might not be the best call. Again, we like to say, you know, a line between business casual and maybe business formal would be great. Again, the interviews are somewhat more casual than a technical interview or a bunch of people grilling you at the same time, but you also want to dress yourself up and look fairly nice for the occasion and for the day. So again, I recommend, you know, somewhere between business casual and formal for the day. And that's kind of par for the course for most of the interviews. And that way you'll feel comfortable and you won't be worrying about, you know, what you're wearing when you can go in the interview, and just put your best foot forward as far as, you know, answering those questions and getting to know people at USC just as much as they're getting to know you as well.
Awesome. So yes, that was Nash answered my next question asking what to wear. So yes, definitely it is an interview. So remember that, like you said, flip-flops is a no-go. So our second question is from Mina and Anna, and they want to know, as an engineering major, how flexible is your schedule? They're curious about minors, taking a double major, or even taking classes in a discipline that's not necessarily related to your major. Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure. So, so I am doing a minor in entrepreneurship. And so for me, as a computer science and computer engineering major, it's actually very easy to kind of fit that all in 4 years. And you've got great advisors who literally sit with you and they plan your schedule with you, so that there's no question of being able to not finish your course plan or not do what you want to in the 4 years that you have. And I mean, if you want to take an extra year, if you want to take a gap somewhere, you're totally welcome to do that. And, you know, your advisors are there to help you with that. As far as flexibility with your schedule, I would say that engineers are involved in a lot of different things on campus in a lot of different areas. And you do definitely have the flexibility to do what you want to do. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, like elaborating on what Savina was saying, you know, I have a minor that's kind of starkly different than anything within Viterbi. You know, Chinese is in a completely different school at USC. And, you know, it was something that you definitely have to plan early on. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I just picked it up a week ago and it's been easy breezy peasy, but you know, it's there if you want to plan for it. And if you have that passion in a minor or a double major, it's doable in a sense of they will try to help you do it. And in terms of flexibility, like I think everybody on this panel speaks about, like, bounds about it. Like, we're all involved in completely different things, and we all got to go into every facet of our passions and everything we're interested in. You know, none of us were really held back. But that being said too, you know, I think at least with myself, you know, I wasn't involved in everything I could be in, but you know, you really find things that kind of you can be super passionate about that meet all the things. I don't know, I'm rambling on, but you know, there's places to get involved, and but you can't be involved in a million things. You can be involved in everything you want to be, for sure.
Yeah, just to kind of curtail what Claire is saying there, it doesn't have to be a minor. It doesn't have to be a double major all the time. You know, it could possibly be taking one accounting class like Michael did, or taking a sailing class or a PE or golf class, or, you know, literally whatever you want to do. Again, a lot of students will come in with the idea that I have to double major or fit in a minor or something. And at the end of the day, taking a few accounting classes, some business classes, art, you know, a foreign language, really is enough to kind of saturate that desire for doing whatever else you want to. Again, speaking with your advisor is the best way, at whatever school you end up going to really work in if you want to do a minor of those other things. But at the same time, it's really important to gauge your interest as far as, do you really just want to get that minor to have a minor, or really learn more about some different things? Because the flexibility to take individual classes means you might be able to take a theater, accounting, art, and PE class instead of working towards a business finance minor or something. Put that in the back of your mind as well when you're thinking about those extra classes or pursuing minors or things like that.
Yeah, just to close that out too, like Nash was saying, I took an accounting class. I did have that real conversation with myself about like whether I wanted to get a math and physics minor, or if I just want to kind of just take some classes of things I'm interested in. And I kind of realized that I would rather have some exposure to lots of different subjects than get kind of focused in aerospace engineering and mathematics or physics. And I figured out that's best for me. So you really got to just figure it out for yourself and find where you'd rather be.
Yeah, definitely. And then I can just add one last thing to that. I was considering pursuing a minor in nonprofits, philanthropy, and volunteerism. And when I was looking at fitting that into my course plan, I realized, like Nash and Michael said, that it would be all those classes and that there were a lot of other things I wanted to do. So I took one class in nonprofits. It was an awesome class and very useful. And then the next semester, I decided to take a stress management class instead, just because I wanted to try something new. And then, next fall, I have an open spot and I don't know what I'm going to take then, but it's nice to have the flexibility instead of, just picking that minor which I wasn't super passionate about. So I can move on to the next question. There are a lot of questions about McCarthy Honors Residential College. They want to know, how is honors housing? But while we can't comment on how it will be to live in McCarthy, we can talk about what it's like to live in honors housing and freshman housing in general. So Maria, do you want to start us off? What was your freshman housing experience like?
So I was in the old honors college, Burncrant Residential College. And I made that decision actually because of Explore. So when I came to Explore, I stayed with a student in there, and I loved the energy. So it had a motto of 8 floors of open doors, and I think they're going to try to incorporate that into the new honors housing. But the best part about it was that the floor itself was just very social. I remember when I told my friends I was going to be in honors college, I was a little worried of maybe it'll just be a bunch of nerds. But when I finally got here, honestly, they were all cooler than me. So I had a great time. I had a great time my freshman year. And I really enjoyed the environment of the honors college.
Quick note before anyone else answers that. So the McCarthy, residential honors housing facility, the reason we can't talk about it, I hope everyone knows this, but is because it's under construction. Again, it'll be done in the fall for classes. But again, none of us have been able to live there or experience it because it's going to be brand new, which is also a pretty cool opportunity as well.
Yeah, I can kind of expand on the, honors housing. I actually lived with Savina, who's on this live chat right now, but we lived on the same floor. And, I chose this honors scholarship housing because kind of what Maria was saying, the 8 floors of open doors. And, there was this thing that people kept talking about, your floor becomes your family. And that still holds true today. Some of those people are my best friends, and some of those people I will be best friends with for the rest of my life, and I know that. And it's just this amazing group of people you get to know on your floor and the rest of the floors. And I think, it's smaller than most of the other housing, so I think that's kind of how that comes about. But that was more the reason why I chose the scholarship housing.
Yeah.
To give the other side, I chose not to live in the honors housing. I don't really have a good reason why. I think maybe what Maria was saying, I was scared it was just going to be a bunch of nerds that I wasn't going to get along with, which is totally not true. But for whatever reason, I decided not to, and I lived in New North Residential College. And, I think the same things still hold true even out of the honors housing, that those girls on my hall really still are my best friends. Actually, the girl who was my next door neighbor freshman year, I'm going to be living with her again next year when we both return from abroad. So I think whether you choose to be in honors housing or not, you're going to find a really tight-knit community in your freshman dorm, and one that's really unlike anything else. I'm actually back in a dorm while I'm abroad right now, and it's kind of weird feeling like a freshman again, but it is kind of nice to have that, whole hall of people that someone's always going to be around when you're hanging out in between classes, or at night when you're just looking for someone to like watch a movie with. There's always going to be people. So I think the freshman dorm experience is really special, whether you're in honors housing or if you're not.
Yeah, so we have been getting a lot of admission related questions asking about like stats on like what percentage of finalists receive scholarships and what AP and IB credits transfer over and things like that. So since we're just students, we're only here to answer questions about student life. So for questions like that, those are best left to the admission staff in Viterbi. If you want to ask them that, you can go to viterbiadmission.usc.edu. And then if you have a question that's really specific and related to you, you can email them at viterbi.admission@usc.edu. So yeah, and then if anyone is just tuning in, we have 40 minutes left for our Scholar live chat. Our next question is related to Explore USC. So for scholarship finalists, you are invited to come interview at USC, and a part of that program is you do a tour and you do this whole day-long event and overnight event called Explore USC, where you stay the night at USC, in USC housing with a current student. So everybody's been asking, you know, what is Explore USC like? What was your guys' experiences? And if you guys could just elaborate a little bit on that. Michael, do you have anything on that?
Yeah, so I came for the whole overnight Explore USC. I flew down from Seattle for it. So basically the layout was, I don't quite remember the order right now, but I went to a class. I sat in on a Calculus 3 class. It was a smaller lecture. I kind of got to experience what it was like to be in a engineering lecture. And I also had a host student who kind of showed me around USC. I stayed with him in the Burn Crant residential dorm. And also at night, there was a really cool event for other students, for other people at Explore, my age. That was called Viterbi After Dark, which is just a really great opportunity to meet some friends. I actually met 2 people that I still talk to today at Explore USC that are really nice. Yeah, that's a little bit about it, but anyone else have something to say about it?
Yeah, I loved Explore. I remember I was so excited just to leave high school and get to tell my friends I was going to Los Angeles for the weekend. And then beyond that, actually coming to campus, I thought I was going to be more excited for Los Angeles than anything else, but coming to campus was so fun. I really enjoyed just getting a feel for the campus. I think what I really appreciate about Explore is I felt like afterwards I really knew what it would be like to be a freshman here. And that happened because current freshmen took me around, they introduced me to their friends, they showed me their study spots and their classes. So I really just got to see the day-to-day life of somebody that is going to USC. And then I also got all of my questions answered about AP, IB credits, anything like that. It was so easy just to ask somebody on the program. So the event, it was really fun, but it was also an awesome way to figure out what USC was like and make my decision to come here.
Yeah, and just to kind of add on to that, when I came down for Explore, I only really knew USC on paper and like through the websites, and it was really cool to get a very real feel for what the campus is like, and just to kind of follow my host around to her classes, and really get to meet some of the people that go to school here and get that first-hand experience and have these in-depth conversations with people, because everyone I remember was so friendly and so willing to just sit down with me and talk to me about how much they loved going to school there. And yeah, so actually my host is one of my really good friends still. So yeah, I had a good experience, and I think you guys all will too.
I also really loved Explore. It was actually when I think I decided that I really wanted to go to USC was at Explore. I have 2 older siblings who had both graduated from USC by the time I was looking at colleges. And during the whole like senior fall of high school, I kept thinking like USC is their school, it's their school. Like I don't want to do the same thing they did. But then when I actually came for Explore and got to kind of walk around campus on my own and get a feel for it of how it could be, my own unique experience, that's when I realized this really is an amazing place that I could carve out my own path at. Neither of my siblings were engineers, so even just the fact that I've done engineering was so different to make USC just so different from what they had experienced. So I think definitely if you're able to come out from Explore, it's a really important way to start visualizing what your life would be like at USC.
Yeah, and then also a note on that, the like Explore hosts are just, you know, they're also just like freshman, sophomore USC engineering students. And so they're a really great resource too. I know I was a host and I loved it. They're a great resource if you have any questions for them. You know, you really get to know them throughout the night and can just ask them about anything they're involved in or their opinions of USC. And, you know, they're totally honest and they're definitely there because they, you know, want to answer your questions. So I would say the hosts are definitely also a really good resource to use during Explore. So moving on to our next question, Allison and Glory want to know about thematic option. They want to know, how are the classes different? What's your opinion on it? Is it beneficial for engineering majors? Savina, do you want to start us off with TO? I know you're in it, right?
Yeah, so I guess the big difference that I see with thematic option classes and the one GE class that I've taken is that they're a lot more discussion heavy and a lot more reliant on you to provide kind of these different insights. So it's a lot more talking about material and you bringing your own thoughts versus being lectured to. So I think it just depends on what your learning style is and what kind of a classroom environment you're comfortable in. Also, if you're really interested in literature, one of my favorite classes in high school was AP Literature. And so that's why I decided to do the thematic option program. I guess, what else can I say? One of the coolest things that I liked about thematic option is that you get to finish your writing requirements your first year. And so I really wanted to kind of build up this knowledge of how to write for a college class my freshman year so that, you know, throughout the rest of my college career, I was prepared for that kind of writing. So in that sense, I think it was also really helpful. But the biggest reason why I chose to be a part of this program was because I knew that as an engineer, I was going to be taking a lot of technical classes, but I really also wanted to incorporate this kind of liberal arts feel to my education, if that kind of makes sense. So I'm able to be at this huge research-oriented university, but at the same time get this very, you know, humanities and liberal arts based, I guess, education at the same time.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think Savina really hit it on the head that it's a lot about you bringing your own original thought to the class. I know I was in TO, which is thematic option, Russian art class, modern Russian art class last semester, which is so different from electrical engineering. And I thought I was going to be really in over my head, but it actually ended up being a really cool class and I really enjoyed it. The lecturer was so interesting and he's like one of the like preeminent heads on Russian art, which was so cool. And at the end of the semester, we all had to write like a 15-page research paper about it. And he wanted us to really connect Russian art to what each person was studying because TO people come from all different majors across USC's campus. So I ended up writing about how electricity and like technology affected Russian art in the beginning of the 1900s. And that was, for me, just a really cool experience to start thinking about how what I'm studying and the tech parts of engineering and this art class that I was in, the intersections between them. And I think that kind of really summed up my experience. I'm actually done with, I've finished all my TO classes now, and it's going to be weird next semester not having them again because it always was like a nice break to use the different part of my brain than what I was using in all my like math and physics classes for engineering. So yeah, TO has really been a highlight of my USC experience.
Yeah, and just one more thing to add. Typically, TO classes have a smaller number of students, so it's like a more intimate classroom environment as well.
Awesome. So thank you to everyone who is watching. If you're just tuning in with us, welcome to the Scholar Live chat. We've got a panel of USC Viterbi engineering students who are also Viterbi scholars. They went through the whole Explore USC interview process a few years ago. And so we're here to answer your guys' questions. You can keep asking your questions on the forums. I'm still looking at them and pulling from them, and we're going to try to get to everything tonight. Or if you're Shayna, I guess Tuesday morning. Yeah, she's in
This
Hong
morning.
Kong. So our next question comes from Michael, Raina, and Tatum. And they're curious about how does research work in Viterbi, specifically as a Viterbi scholar. They want to know, like, what are some of the opportunities in research? So Claire, do you want to start off with your experiences?
Yeah. So I got to start research out right away my freshman year because I was selected as a Viterbi fellow, which is this just really cool program that Viterbi does, kind of through the scholarship program. But I started out as an environmental engineer at USC, but now I'm an ISE major. But weirdly, my research I chose freshman year combines both environmental engineering and ISE. So I'm still sticking with it. But I am basically researching the natural disaster, not natural disaster, but the BP Horizon Deepwater incident and the Fukushima natural disasters and how they affect the Black Sea and Caspian Sea regions. And then from that data we're trying to create a new environmental diplomacy kind of to prevent these measures and kind of take care of the countries and areas that they're affecting. So I get to work really closely. It's me, a grad student, and a professor in the School of Environmental Engineering, Professor Mishkati. And I'm basically just writing a technical paper and doing research. But, when I was selected as a Viterbi fellow, I was given, I think it was 50 or so options. So I wasn't pigeonholed to, just that one option. That's just the one I chose. But even if you aren't selected as a Viterbi fellow, I know people that do research, through clubs and through professors, just connections they're making. And just by going out there and talking to people, Viterbi faculty love working with Viterbi students because they know that we're, smart and passionate people. So I don't know, I can't speak for someone that wasn't selected as a Viterbi fellow, but, I think everybody does research, and I was just lucky to get it my freshman year, but yeah.
Yeah, adding to that, I'll say that when I was also selected as a Viterbi fellow, but one of the hardest parts about actually finding research wasn't so much finding a lab that would take me, it was choosing among all the different projects. So coming in as a freshman, maybe 3 weeks in, with no experience in anything, mind you, I was choosing between a lab about making quantum computers, a lab about material science, a lab about geographic information systems for petroleum, and all of these labs were completely willing to open their doors for freshman undergraduate students and train you throughout your 4 years here and give you research experience. So I think one of the coolest parts is I feel the culture with USC professors is they like taking undergraduates in the lab and they like showing you. And even if you're not getting paid, if you don't have the scholarship, there's other scholarships available for students to pursue research. So it's extremely easy for USC students to get involved in research, and the faculty really appreciate it because they get to essentially train you over 4 years and keep students interested in higher education and everything. But my experience in the lab has been great. I talked about it a little earlier. I work on sustainable manufacturing of composites for the aerospace industry. And I, as a freshman, I didn't know if I would be able to work that many hours. I was a little afraid of the requirement. And I'll say the professors I've met have been very flexible with a student's schedule. So one of the nice things is since so many professors take undergraduate students, they're very understanding of undergraduate time restrictions. They know you're taking 4 classes. You don't need to be working 40 hours a week to be involved in a lab. You can go in for as little as 3 or 4 and still make progress towards something. And then, if you have a lighter semester, sometimes you'll work more. So if you're interested in research, definitely look into it. And it's a great opportunity.
Kind of expanding on what Maria said earlier too, I think another really cool thing about USC's research is you heard how diverse Maria's options were that she went through. They weren't all just chemical engineering related. And I think that's what's so cool about USC faculty and research is people are doing research in things that aren't, directly related to their major. You've got computer science people working in biomedical labs or chemical engineers working in computer labs. USC is kind of this place where there's opportunities to research in parts of engineering that you have interest in, but aren't necessarily directly majoring in. So I get to do this environmental engineering research, even though my major is ISE now, but kind of like just expanding on what Maria said. But, yeah.
Awesome. So we'll move on to our next question. So one that we just got is from, I think, Zion in Vancouver. And the question is basically about study abroad in Madrid. So you're right, Zion, we did not explain it very well. So Nash, if you want to go ahead and sort of explain what is the Viterbi Overseas Program, why were so many of us in Madrid, Spain over the summer, and yeah, just talk a little bit more about it.
Sure. So just to reiterate, myself, Nash, Savina, Michael, Maria, and Bria were all in Madrid, Spain this summer. So that's a few of us out of the 7 panelists we have tonight. But the Viterbi Overseas Program is a 7-week-long engineering study abroad experience in the summer, okay? So it usually starts at the beginning of June, maybe end of May or so, and it's on a rotational basis of a few cities, about Europe. I think it's about 7 or 6 cities. That's not as important as just you're going to a really cool place in Europe, and every weekend you have the opportunity to travel with USC sponsored excursions to other parts of the country or of the continent, Europe in general. So for us, we would during a normal week take classes Monday through Thursday, 2 classes a day, usually from 9 a.m. to about 1 p.m. or so, at a study abroad center. That was the Accent International Study Abroad Center in Madrid, Spain, and there's a few of those centers around Europe. And these classes were being taught by USC Viterbi faculty. So we actually had professors from USC in Madrid, Spain, teaching us USC classes for USC credit. So it was literally like we moved the classroom in California straight to Madrid, Spain, and then we're just taking classes there, which is really cool. But again, to walk you guys through the schedule of the week, for 4 days we take classes. There would still be assignments, there's still homework, there's still tests, it still is a class for engineering credit. But then Friday through Sunday, we'd either be on a USC sponsored excursion around Spain. We went to Valencia, we went to the south of Spain, Andalusia, and all that great stuff. And then 2 out of the 7 weekends are free, so you're basically allowed to go wherever you really want to, as long as you let everyone know what your plans are. So I know a few of us ended up going to Budapest, and I went to Paris with Michael during one of those other free weekends where we met some of our friends from USC who lived in Paris, which was really cool. And so this kind of dovetails into the question of, can you be an engineer and study abroad? And the answer is yes. And another addition to that question is, can you be an engineer and study abroad during the semester? And the answer to that question is also yes. Again, that takes a little bit more effort on your part to go, talk to your advisor and get your plan set up. The Viterbi Overseas Program is really easy because it's in the summer and you actually get ahead on your academic credits. So I'm required to take 6 less units my junior year as a result of going abroad. But again, all those opportunities are available. You can go abroad through the Arts and Letters School, Dornsife. But again, the Viterbi Overseas Program is a very popular program, so you do have to apply for it and be selected. But I would definitely highly recommend that if you're interested in overseas. And there are also other students and ambassadors who have gone abroad for the semester, the places like New Zealand, China, all over the place. But again, highly recommend it. Studying abroad in general, if not overseas for the semester, like Shannon's doing, really all those opportunities are great, and you will not regret it for half a second going abroad and sharing all those experiences with your best friends.
Yeah, I can elaborate on studying abroad for the semester. I did not do the Viterbi Overseas Summer Program, even though it sounds amazing, but I kind of came into college even before I knew I wanted to be an engineer. I knew I wanted to spend a semester studying abroad, and that really drew me to USC was that they really were committed to making sure that even engineers can study abroad for the semester. And here I am doing it. For anyone who tuned in late, I'm in Hong Kong at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, which is just one of a few schools that Viterbi has a relationship with where you can go be an exchange student. And then students from here also study at USC. So I'm one of about 400 exchange students who are from all over the world. There's 2 of us here from Viterbi, and then a bunch from actually USC's business school, which is cool too, to meet USC students in Hong Kong. But I was actually really nervous trying to plan for a semester study abroad. Like one of my first months freshman year, I went into the study abroad office and I was like, okay, I'm going to study abroad my junior year. How do I do it? And they were like, you're a freshman? Why are you here now? So I think I might have been a little overzealous in trying to do my planning. It really wasn't that hard. I just had to work mostly this fall semester with my academic advisor and the head of my department of electrical engineering, just to make sure that the classes that they offer here matched up with USC's classes, and that I was going to stay true to my course plan. And I'm still going to graduate in 4 years. I'm really basically taking the classes here that I would have taken at USC. So it's kind of just like uprooting myself for the semester. And this is literally the second week that I've been here. This is the anniversary of my arriving. And so far it's been really cool. It's really exciting just to kind of see a new place and see a new learning environment. Because this is, unlike the Viterbi overseas program where you're at like a learning center, this is a full-fledged school. So it's mostly not exchange students who are here. It's mostly local Hong Kong students. And then plus those 400 exchange students who are from literally all over the world, Europe, other parts of Asia, a lot of Americans, Canada. So yeah, it's been a really amazing experience, and I'm excited to see how the rest of it goes. I'll be here till the end of May, so I have a lot ahead of me.
Awesome. So yes, you can study abroad. Shayna is in the future in Hong Kong right now. And yeah, and then the rest of us have all done it except for Claire, right, Claire?
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I planned, I promise. I had planned it out.
Okay, so our next question is from Mina, who's in Istanbul, and Angela from Atlanta. They want to know, how much time do you guys spend on engineering, and do you have a social life? Does engineering just consume everything you do? And Maria, I'll have you start off with that one.
Yeah, well, I'll say this semester, it's kind of a split. So my Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, I have my engineering classes, which means Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday night, usually I'll be doing homework with friends, or, I mean, I could start it early, but I usually don't. But my Tuesdays and Thursdays, the only classes I have are yoga and piano. So I definitely feel like I have a lot of free time as an engineer. Don't get me wrong, the classes themselves they're gonna be work, but I wouldn't say that consumes your life, if that makes sense. It's kind of like the work hard, play hard phrase, I feel like, as overused as it is. And so I feel like it's really helpful to be in a city like Los Angeles, because when I do want to take off and do something fun, I can go to Santa Monica, or I can go climb Mount Baldy, or do the Hollywood hike, or something like that. So it's like, even though my engineering classes might take more time than some other majors, I enjoy them. And when I'm done with them, I can go do whatever Los Angeles has to offer, or USC.
Yeah, and rolling off that, that's actually one of the reasons I kind of wanted to come to USC. So I was really concerned with just being an engineer. I wanted to, go hiking and, go skiing as much as possible, and also have a social life on top of studying aerospace engineering. So sure enough, in my experience, it's all about just finding a balance that works for yourself. For me, that's working really, really hard most of the days of the week, but then having some time to just go relax and go, adventure. So currently I have a 3-day hiking trip for this weekend, because I actually don't have Friday classes this semester. Woo! And and last year, I think spring semester of last year, I actually ended up getting 16 days of skiing in at Mammoth Mountain, which is only about 5 hours north of Los Angeles. So, people say building rockets, it's rocket science, it must be really hard. Yeah, it's hard, but as long as you find a balance, you can do what you want to do. So it's all about that.
Yeah, and I think kind of expanding on what Michael's saying is there's no like cookie cutter recipe for every single person. Like you heard like Michael's like, I have to work hard every day, and Maria was like, I start my homework like the day before, and like I start my homework the day before it's due too, and that works for me. And I think it's about finding that balance and like staying true to yourself, as weird as that sounds in terms of homework. But also what I found is I'm super sociable in doing my work. So like I get all of my ISC friends, we call them homework parties, and we do them like all of our homework together. And like that's just been kind of my way of being social. But I also do hiking. Like I never hiked before I came to LA, and now I do. But yeah, there's definitely opportunities to go out and explore LA and have a social life while having good grades and while being in clubs, you know. And I think everybody on this panel is like a true testament of that.
Yeah, I would say one thing Claire is touching on that I really like is I think one of the things that's most helpful is I feel like a lot of my friends are as committed to doing the most with their free time as I am. So I feel like the typical Viterbi student wants to be an engineer and do more. And you'll probably hear all about Engineering Plus when you come for Explore, but I really believe that most of my friends and everyone on this panel, it's like we want to do more than just engineering. We're here because we wanted to do engineering and be able to study abroad and be able to hike and be able to do a million other things. So none of that can be contained within just one course plan. And I think that's really been reflected, at least in my friendships and my interactions at Viterbi.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with everything everybody said. It's definitely nice, like being in LA, we have so much to do. And so like engineering is something that is one thing that I do, but I wouldn't like say that it defines me or it's my life. So definitely you don't have to, you know, not have a social life. It's definitely possible. But before we go to our next question, if you're just tuning in, welcome to the USC Viterbi live chat. We've got about 15 minutes left. Right now we're taking questions submitted to our website by scholarship finalists. Some of you are asking questions that we've already answered. So if you wait until the end of the live chat, we will post the full hour-long live chat, and you can watch it from the beginning to see the questions we've already answered. Some of those that people are asking are about thematic option and about the interview process and what Explore USC is like. And we already answer those. So if you guys watch the whole live chat over, you'll be able to get those answered. On to our next question. So Raina wants to know about networking opportunities and internships. So Shayna, I'll start with you. You said you're returning to aerospace, right? How did you get that internship?
I am. That actually came out of me being very vocal about my interest in working in the aerospace field, and a friend overhearing me and her mom actually working at aerospace and putting us in touch. And that led, you know, her mom was able to send out my resume at the company, and that led to an interview. So that was very fortunate. And I think that really speaks to the community of people you're going to meet at USC, that all, especially people who are from the LA area, if you're like me and you want to stay in the LA area, it's a lot of good friends you can make who are going to help you out to do that. But although that wasn't a formal networking event, there are a lot of formal networking events that are hosted. I feel like I get emails inviting me to them at least like twice a week, if not more, from all different organizations. A bunch of people, we're a lot of girls on this panel. We're all involved in SWE, Society of Women Engineers. They have a lot of networking events. Any professional organization specific to your major is going to have networking events. Any like cultural organization you're a part of is going to have networking events. And there's just campus reps coming like all the time to USC. I actually, my freshman year, went to one where they brought like 3 USC alumni of different ages who were specifically from electrical engineering, which is my major, and they all talked about where they were in their career now. I remember one of them had done her undergrad at USC, one of them had gotten his PhD at USC, and it was really interesting to hear where they had all gotten in their careers then, and then they did a Q&A on how they got there, and were super available for, you know, giving out their emails to stay in touch with. So there's definitely lots of people coming to campus to help you get an internship.
Additionally, the largest number of people coming to campus at the same time are the career fairs. I know Mike was probably going to jump on that and say the same thing, but we have a career fair in the fall and the spring, not only for just USC as a whole, but for the Viterbi School of Engineering. So the career fair in the fall for the general USC population has, you know, upwards of 100 companies represented. The engineering career fair this year had over 160 companies. So the engineering career fair was actually larger than the campus-wide, university-wide career fair. The career fair is so large for the engineering school, they had to move it from the engineering quad to the main thoroughfare of campus called Truesdale Parkway. So again, Shannon mentioned a lot of great networking skills, industry networking nights through organizations and other things. But again, there's also just the old-fashioned going up with your resume and your suit and tie, you know, or your formal work attire, and just, you know, giving a quick elevator pitch, talking to a recruiter, telling them you're really interested in any positions that are open, and hopefully finding a spot that you're interested in. That's actually how I landed my internship with Boeing Full for 3 or 4 weeks, and really just went up to the booth with my resume, said I really love airplanes. I've loved airplanes since I was a kid, and I would love to go work for a company that builds airplanes. And there's a lot of resources available on campus that can prepare you to make that introduction and put your best foot forward. We're not just going to throw you out there, you know, and say, hey, okay, do your best, go for it. Viterbi has a career services organization that can do mock interviews, resume reviews, and give you general career advice and guidance. We have a freshman academy course where you'll have a professor and also 2 coaches, which are usually upperclassmen in the engineering school, who can help you get your resume in order, kind of be, you know, guides, but also just friends and mentors who have kind of been there and done that and seen the things that Viterbi has to offer, so they can kind of give you the best idea of how to get started, and depending on what track you want to go down, the resources necessary to get there. So again, you know, Shannon mentioned the networking. There's industry networking events and nights on campus. There's career fairs. There's good old-fashioned cold emailing and calling people to see if you can get your foot in the door. But if you really do your best to leverage all those opportunities, there are definitely a great number of chances for you to land those internships or eventually entry-level positions. Again, USC can't give you a job. They can't guarantee you an internship, but they can do basically the next best thing, which is provide you with all the resources you need to be prepared to make that best first introduction and really give yourself the best chance possible to put your best foot forward and give yourself the best chance of securing one of those internships or entry-level positions.
Yeah, and like I was going to talk about the career, the career day, or whatever you want to call it, the career fair, excuse me. But one that's not talked about as much is actually an online resource given to Viterbi students. It's something called the Viterbi Career Gateway that's been really helpful to me, actually. What it is when you're an undergraduate at USC, you're studying engineering, you can log on to a USC website that's actually a database of a lot of different employers that want to hire Viterbi engineering students. So I kind of went on there one time. I was interested in aerospace, and I was interested in startup companies as well. So after some searching, I actually came across a company that is literally just looking for, well, they're basically funding startups in the aerospace industry specifically. So I reached out to them through the Viterbi Career Gateway, told them about my background in aerospace, about how I'm interested in what they're doing. And sure enough, they brought me on board, and I'm interning for them this semester in the company called Starburst, if you want to check them out. It's really interesting. But yeah, so there's lots of resources, whether it's online or in person at those career fairs. So make sure to always look into those and also research more about those online.
Yeah, and I would say on that, I got all of my internships from career fairs, but as far as getting an internship as a freshman, it's definitely doable. I went to the spring career fair as a freshman. I didn't go to the fall one. And through that career fair, I got 2 interviews with Matt Construction and LA County Sanitation Districts. And I ended up getting both of those jobs, one for the summer after my freshman year, and then one for the fall semester of my sophomore year. And so definitely, you know, that I know that's not as common at other schools. Sure, it's awesome that you can, you know, get an internship as a freshman. And there's really a lot of opportunities for USC students and especially Viterbi students. So on to our next question. This one I really like. A bunch of people are asking about this, but specifically Michael, Malia, and Madeline are curious about what are your guys' favorite engineering experience, whether it's class, research, an internship, a student org. If a couple you want to touch on, you know, what has been like your favorite Viterbi experience?
Oh, well, I can jump in. Actually, my favorite Viterbi, engineering experience, a lot of people kind of might say this, I'm not sure, but was Freshman Academy actually, which is that like intro engineering course. And it's actually true, like it was my favorite engineering thing I've ever done, because you get to meet all these different types of engineers that you otherwise wouldn't necessarily meet in all your other classes. So, you know, I met one of my best friends now who's a computer science business administration major who I probably would have never taken a class with. Another one of my coaches was a mechanical engineer who I probably would have never taken a class with. So and you would just get to do like super fun events with them. We played, I think, flag football one time. We went and saw the science museum across the street one time, and like you just get to hang out with all these cool engineers outside of class, and you're not doing like tough homework and you're not stressed out. It's just a really fun way to make friends. And that was probably my favorite engineering thing I've done thus far in the past 2 years at USC.
Okay, so I just pulled this up on my phone because I was super excited, but this is a picture from my introduction to aerospace engineering class. If you guys can see that, that's me next to a glider that we built. And as you can see, it's pretty big. It's like an 8-foot wingspan glider. But that was what we did our freshman semester, was learn how to actually build a plane. So we did. We built a launcher for it, and we shot it off this launcher in the baseball field for our fly day, which was towards the end of the semester. And we put so much time into the ironically named Bird of Time glider. It was a really awesome payoff at the end, but we put a bunch of hours in the lab building it. And that was just too cool for someone who, you know, is really into aerospace and airplanes to see this thing that you work really hard on and build. And you do all this learning in class, and then you predict how it's going to fly, and then it flies, and all the equations work, and it's a beautiful day. So that was a really cool engineering experience for me, and that was in the first couple of months that I was here at USC.
Yeah.
So cute, Nash.
For an outside of class one really quick too, just to one up the planes. My freshman year, I joined the USC Rocket Propulsion Lab. I'm trying to find a picture too because yeah, so my freshman year I joined the Rocket Propulsion Lab, which is a bunch of undergraduates that are actually building and launching carbon fiber rockets. So my freshman year I got involved with that. It's kind of a research group that's really hands-on. So as a freshman, actually, the week before the rocket launch, we were a little bit behind schedule. So I spent some really late nights in the rocket lab actually attaching the fins to the motor so the rocket could fly stably. And then literally, I think 12 hours after I finished doing that, we started driving. We drove 10 hours up to Nevada to Black Rock Desert where we actually launched our rocket. So it was really cool to see something fly. Here's a picture of that. Is it going? Yeah. Right. There's the rocket. You can kind of see it. But yeah, so my freshman year, literally, I wanted to get into rocket science. I joined the Rocket Propulsion Lab, and by the end of the year, I actually launched the first rocket of my life, which is just one of the most special experiences I could ask for. Unfortunately, that one failed aerodynamically, but it was a beautiful failure, and we learned a lot as a lab.
And just to note, they showed us some awesome pictures, but if you guys want to hear a little bit more about some of our experiences in Viterbi and at USC, you can go to our website, which is viterbivoices.usc.edu, and we all post pictures and blogs and stuff like that about all of our involvements and some of the stuff we do at USC, so definitely recommend checking that out. Looks like we have time for one more question. A lot of people have been asking why we chose USC, so I'm going to have all the panelists answer that one before we wrap it up. Nash, do you want to start?
Sure. I say this time and time again, and I still think it's just as true saying it now as the first time I ever responded to this question with this student asking me, why should I go to USC? And it's really just mutual interest. I'd compare stacks of mail. I was about here for most schools, and I was like, up here, I'd probably need to move my computer screen or something to show you guys how high it would actually be. But literally, I received so much more mail from USC. And not that, receiving a bunch of mail was the reason I came here, but it showed that USC was interested in me as a person and interested in what Nash would do at the Viterbi School of Engineering. Like I say, it's almost like a relationship between you and the school. It works way better if both the parties are really excited about each other. If you really like the school, but you're just another number and mission statistic to them, it's not going to be as fun once you show up. And vice versa. If the school really likes you, but you're not really excited to be there, it won't be a great experience. So if you combine that with the weather, the location, especially for aerospace, but also being, near the beach, you have great skiing, you have great surfing. My roommate's laughing at me because he loves it too. He's from Phoenix, so obviously the weather's so much better here. But if you combine all that with the sports, the football, and just the like-minded people who really care about engineering but also doing a lot more, you get a great, combination of just this school that feels small but big at the same time, an engineering sphere of people, but also the opportunity to meet a bunch of others. So really, when you combine all of that, it's just a win-win situation, and that's why I chose to come to USC.
Yeah, well, what a tough answer to follow up now, Nash. Thanks. I think, for me, I'm one of those people that never likes to be pigeonholed into, a singular definition. And it was said a couple times in this podcast, I noticed, everybody here was like, I'm not just an engineer. And, I didn't want to go to a school and be just an engineer, just another number, just another science and math and physics class, and USC was a school that allowed me to do so much more than engineering. And we say Viterbi plus, and we say engineering plus, and it sounds like, just something we're saying, but it's really true. You get to do all these, I got to minor, and I get to study abroad, and I get to do these clubs, and I get to be a part of Greek life, and, and I get to still ride horses. And, I keep saying, and it sounds like a lot, but it's really doable. And than just an engineer, I am equestrian, I am a sorority girl, I am a philanthropy person, like, I don't know the correct term for that, but, like, I have all these definitions now that define Claire, and, it's like, kind of what Nash was saying, USC wants, like, what we want Nash, like, we want Claire, like, we want Bria, we want Maria, like, and everybody else, but, like, USC, really wanted me. They didn't want just an engineer. That's why I came here. I knew post-grad I wasn't just going to be really good at science and math. I was going to be really good at everything I wanted to be really good at, and I was going to be a better person upon, a 4-year graduation from USC. So that's why I chose USC.
Yeah, I'll say my answer kind of is similar, and maybe a lot of ours will be, but I would say the difference for me is I didn't have a million things I was interested as a high schooler. I'm from Florida. All of us talked about hiking just now. Florida doesn't even have mountains. And like, I really wanted to go somewhere that inspired me to do more and gave me more guidance. So for me, when I came to Viterbi, there was such an emphasis on, you're going to take this freshman academy class and we're going to show you how to make your resume. We're going to show you how to talk to employers. We're going to show you how to get through these classes. If you need help, come to admissions. There were so many safety nets in place that I really felt like it was somewhere where it was a safe place to grow and to fail a few times and figure out what I am interested in. So I didn't come into USC being good at talking to employers. I didn't come to USC being good at any of my engineering classes, but I really feel like I can track what Viterbi has done for me to get me to where I am today. And I'm extremely grateful even today. So for me, I was just very interested in the attention that we get as students. And just the extra, like the methods, just the emphasis on actually growing you as a person beyond just getting you through. And so I think that extra attention for me made all the difference, because I could have graduated from an engineering school and never have learned all of these things. And I just really like that it's a core emphasis of Viterbi to really show its students what to do.
Yeah. Mine's a little bit different. I actually ended up, I chose USC for a lot of reasons, but one of the big reasons I actually chose Viterbi as a school of engineering, was because what a lot of people say, and they keep saying over and over again, is when you're admitted to Viterbi, you're not just admitted to the major you applied to, you're admitted to all the majors within Viterbi. And to tell you the truth, when I was leaving high school, the only reason I wanted to go into aerospace or astronautical engineering was because I took calculus and I read a book about space by Stephen Hawking, and I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. Oh yeah, and I love Star Wars, duh. But long story short, it's only luck that I ended up staying with aerospace engineering. Like, I had no idea if I'd actually like the coursework. Like, I didn't feel locked in, going to school and having to stick with aerospace for 4 years. Like, that was kind of scary to me. And coming to USC, a place that encouraged me to not necessarily just stick with something because I signed up for it on the application, but to actually pursue my interest and passion, that really stretches outside of just the aerospace or the engineering curriculum. It kind of stretches to following your passions at USC as a student. And I feel like that's actually followed me through to junior year, which is pretty exciting to me.
Yeah, and so I can kind of relate to a lot of that. And I think for me, it was the sheer just opportunities that Viterbi was offering me, and just the different ways that I could imagine myself not only being I guess, changed by Viterbi in the best sense, but also the number of ways I can make my own impact on this school. So what I love about being able to be an engineering student here is that I can also be a student in the business school. I can be a law student. I can be, literally, I'm taking a weight training class, which is like kind of funny, not something I ever thought I would do. And just, being able to get all these different experiences while still being an engineer. I'm doing some things that, my friends who go to other schools look at and they're like, how are you even able to do this in your first or second year? And I'm like, well, it's not even like I had to go out of my way and beg people to give me these opportunities. I was literally just choosing from things that were pretty much being offered to me, And I think one of the other things that I love about the culture of the school here is that for me personally, coming from a very competitive high school environment, I really just did not like the sense of competition that was so, I guess, head to head, to the point where you would lose interest in what you were studying. You were only studying, get ahead of other people. And I think that is a trend in a lot of different universities, but not this one. This community that we have here, especially in Viterbi, is very, I guess the right word for it would be not competitive, but kind of community oriented, if that makes sense. So it's very, cooperative and collaborative. And I think that there is so much to be learned from these very, very qualified professors, but also just by the students that you have surrounding you, just the caliber of the students and the number of just the sheer breadth of their experiences and their interests really makes you a better student, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to jump off of that. I think one of my favorite things among everything that everyone has just said is the people at USC and within Viterbi, but also just at USC as a whole. We talked a lot about being more than just an engineer, which I think is so true, but you're going to find that of all students at USC. They're more than just a business student, more than just a comm student. Everyone has, is dipping a toe in so many different pools and trying different things. And what's amazing about being at the USC campus is that you get to come together, find your commonalities, find where, oh, you like doing this, I like doing that, let's meet up and talk about it, or, have those amazing conversations about your different majors and what you're doing in all your different classes, where they have, the cinema students and the theater students can interact with the math and science students. And I think it's just a really special place to be at. And there's really nothing like being on campus on a game day, even if you don't like football, and just surrounded by people in the Cardinal and Gold, young and old, all the alumni come back, and you really feel like you're a part of something bigger and something that you can be so proud to call your home. As cheesy as that sounds, I'm getting a little nostalgic for USC now. But yeah, I think when you join USC, you join an amazing community of people.
Yeah, for me, I chose USC because when I was looking for a college, I wanted something that checked off all of my boxes. And so some of those things where I wanted a school with my major, I wanted, a school that had environmental engineering, which isn't super common. I wanted a school that was located in a city. I wanted stuff like school spirit and a football team, and, a school that was really rooted in tradition. And, when I came to USC, I really felt like I found all of those things. And it's funny because that's why I chose USC. But now that I go here, it's one thing for me to be able to say that I checked off all those boxes, but it's another to be able to say that USC has surpassed my expectations for every single one of those things. I mean, like Shayna talked about, Trojan spirit and game day. And I'd never seen anything like that. And, with my major, there are so many resources, and I never imagined that with a major that isn't even offered at a lot of universities. I didn't think that it would surpass my expectations. And so definitely for me, USC, when I was looking for schools, it checked off all those boxes. And then now, being a junior, I only have 3 semesters left. It's awesome that USC has definitely surpassed all of my expectations. And it's definitely, I made the right choice. I don't know about you guys, but I definitely made the right choice. So yeah, that was our final question. We hope everyone enjoyed the live chat tonight, or if you're in a different time zone like Shayna, I don't know when.
This afternoon.
Please make sure you guys go to viterbiadmission.usc.edu for any of your admission related questions. And we can't wait to see you all at Explore USC. But before you come, if you want to learn more about what life is like as an engineering student, more about us, or there are a lot of other engineering students who were not on this panel, go to our website at viterbivoices.usc.edu. Congratulations again on getting into USC and being a scholarship finalist, and fight on.
Whoa, fight on, guys.
Fight on, guys.